DOJ drops immigration-related restrictions for states' domestic violence services. Left viewpoints. DOJ agrees not to restrict aid for domestic abuse and assault survivors based on immigration status. The U.S. Department of Justice has reversed course and will not seek to prevent a group of Democratic-led states from using federal grant funding to provide legal services to victims of domestic violence and sexual assault who are immigrants living in the United States illegally. Center viewpoints. On Monday, the U.S. Department of Justice reversed course and agreed not to bar Democratic-led states from using federal grant funding for legal services under the Violence Against Women Act and Victims of Crime Act. After DOJ's August notice, 19 states and the District of Columbia challenged conditions barring use of funds from 3 grant programs for legal services to immigrants unlawfully present in the United States. The Violence Against Women Act and Victims of Crime Act fund support for victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking, and other violent crimes. Helping state victim service providers offer representation, relocation, and compensation. 19 states and the District of Columbia dropped their lawsuit Monday after the U.S. Department of Justice exempted VOCA and VAWA grants following its October 22 defense of the policy. By exempting existing awards, the DOJ preserved state victim service providers' use of federal funds for immigrant victims living in the United States illegally. And New York Attorney General Letitia James said it's despicable to attack survivors. Right viewpoints. The U.S. Department of Justice will not block states from using federal funding for legal services to immigrant victims of domestic violence and sexual assault living in the U.S. illegally. 19 states and the District of Columbia have withdrawn a lawsuit after the Justice Department agreed not to apply new grant conditions to existing awards. The states argued that eligibility for victim services should not be based on immigration status, which is supported by existing regulations. New York Attorney General Letitia James expressed relief that the federal government reversed its policy, stating that attacking survivors is despicable. Bias comparison. Left-leaning coverage frames the DOJ's action as a positive drops of restrictions for domestic violence services, de-emphasizing specific details about beneficiaries. In contrast, right-leaning reports, while using neutral headline language, highlight immigrants living in the United States illegally, and the involvement of 19 states and the District of Columbia, suggesting a critical perspective on loosened immigration.